Welcome back, everyone. It's Kirrok here. Glad for you guys to join me. So this is going to be part 2 of the building my slime farm area. And right now we're outdoors above where my farms are going to be eventually. And you look over there and you see this tall structure. And you're wondering, what the heck is that? Well, it's my attempt to kind of explain the science behind the setup for the slime farm. So I want you guys to follow me, and I'll do my best at describing how it works and how far you have to be away for... Thank you, Mr. Cow, for moving my cameraman. And yeah, no, he's got no food. There we go. Good. So yeah, I'm gonna do my best to explain how the science behind spawning works for this. Okay, so let's go and I'll show you. So I'm going to head right to the very top, and when I get to the very top, I'll start explaining exactly how this works. So we're now at the top. The platform I'm standing on is basically a representation of the surface of my grassy area over there where those two diamond shapes are. So imagine this as being the ground where I'm planting my wheat and everything, and the bedrock or the cobblestone that you see all the way at the bottom there, that represents bedrock. Okay, so from where I'm standing to that cobblestone, it's about 64 blocks, give or take a block or two. So the way slime farm or slime spawning works is slimes can spawn anywhere within 40 blocks from the bottom or from bedrock. And I've represented that with the lighter colored wood planks that you see running all the way from the bedrock up to a point where they kind of turn and stop. Let me go down and I'll show you exactly the point where they stop. So as you can see, this is the point at which the whiter or lighter colored planks stop. So they represent the space in which slimes can spawn. It's basically 40 blocks from the bottom or from bedrock, which is down there represented by the cobblestone. So anywhere between where I'm standing and bedrock, it doesn't matter of what kind of light level there is, slimes will spawn as long as there is space. And the next thing I want to explain is, now that I'm at the top or the surface, these birch blocks, or what other people that I like to watch on YouTube call it zebra wood, these represent the area in which a mob cannot spawn in distance from the player. So if I'm standing on this block, in the area that this birch is taking up, so you can see it heads down to what look like little watermelons down there, in that distance or that area away from me, nothing can spawn in terms of hostile mobs. So the platform I'm standing on, this one right here, is exactly 32 blocks below the top or the surface platform that I was on a moment ago. This is exactly the same depth that I've built the platforms in my slime farm down below the surface. If you look over here, you can actually see cobblestone, and the cobblestone is capped at the bottom and the top by melons. That zone is 24 at the top and 32 at the bottom, blocks away from the top platform on the surface. This is what you would call, I guess, the butter zone, or the the magic number in which mobs can spawn away from the player. So if I spend my time all the way up there on the surface, then anything able to spawn in this distance or this gap will spawn. And so this is where excuse me, I've placed the pad down on the bottom of my slime farm, and then also what I have is what I'm going to do is create a second pad above that, exactly 3 blocks up, or on the 4th block, so I have a 3 block gap between this pad and this pad. I also have enough space to possibly fit another one in up here, but then I fall into the range where they don't spawn. So I might be able to do it as a 3 or a triple decker instead of a double decker, but so far my plans go to a double decker simply because at this point right here is where the slimes cease to spawn. So I might just stick with a 2-decker. Whoops. So what I'm going to do is I'll demonstrate how this changes when you move in heights. See, I could take advantage. Whoa. No, 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 no. Oh, what a dumb way to die. All right, let me respawn and we'll continue. Okay, let's go back. Damn thing, man. I can't believe it. Let me grab all my stuff, and then what I'll do is I'll head back up there and continue what I was talking about. Alright, so as I was saying before, if I wanted to take advantage of the full 40 blocks from below that you're looking at there, from the bedrock to the top of this white plank up at the top here, I'd have to lower the surface. So what I'll do is I'll kind of demonstrate that. Let me go up to the top and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so currently the way I have it set up, this being the surface where I'm going to be spending most of my time, if creatures spawn 24 to 32 blocks away, that means that they're going to basically end up in those platforms that I have down below. So this will visually show you the area in which they will spawn. Basically, the way I have this demonstration set up, it's in 3 spots, but I'm going to have it only on 2 spots, which will be this spot and this spot. And see where those sand pieces fall? That's where they're going to be spawning. I might do a third, I don't know, and that would be the 3rd spot right there. But currently, if I wanted to take advantage of the full 40 blocks from bedrock up to the white planks, I would have to do something like this. Lower my position to a spot like that, and if I did it here, then the placement of that butter zone would move down with me. So if I were standing on a platform this deep into the ground, the creatures would spawn as far down as where that sand block just went, which means I could then add more platforms on which the slimes can spawn, all the way down to that where that sand block just fell. But I'm not going to do that because it means, it means basically building an entrance or a processing center that's much lower, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to continue with the build. I hope this explanation is good enough or visually kind of represents or shows you what's going to be happening once this is all set up. So I'll see you guys down at the bottom, and we'll continue with the build. Now, in case you guys are wondering if this thing even works, come on down with me and I'll show you if there are any slimes down there, since we've been up here for the whole time. And what do I hear? And as you can see, oh damn, these guys are hard. I've got spawns, slime spawns. Oh, and he's gonna kill me. No. There we go. I gotta be careful because they're pretty sneaky. The little guys, though, they don't hurt you. They just push you around, so they're a lot of fun to kill. There we go. So this is my first slime that I'm collecting, and but we still have quite a bit of work to do. You'll notice that I replaced the floor with wood. Just wanted to do a different surface down here on the platform or on the spawn pad. And you'll also see that I've thrown in pumpkins for good measure. That way, when I'm at the right distance for mobs to spawn in this area, I don't get things such as creepers and skeletons and zombies spawning. Only slimes will spawn. I'm gonna go kill those other ones down there, and then we'll continue with the waterworks that are necessary to bring them up to the surface. So before I actually start putting in the waterworks, I do want to build the second floor or the double-decker above us. What I'm going to do is just make a little opening right here and staircase my way up and start hollowing out the top. Now I won't show you how I hollow out the top. I mean, you saw that the last video. But what I'm going to plan, or what I plan to do, is replace this floor or ceiling here, which is the floor of the upper level, with wood so that it's similar to what I have down here. So once I've got that done, I will come back, and then at that point we'll start the waterworks. So I've completed the upper level. As you can see, the floor, or sorry, the ceiling of this room, which is the floor of the room above, is set up just like the floor of this room, made of wood. As well, I put jack-o'-lanterns to light up the area to prevent mobs from spawning. Come upstairs. I'll show you what it looks like upstairs. And that's it up here. So you can see that the style is the same. Basically, it's a reproduction of the 2 spawn chunks below us for slimes. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start chewing away at these walls here and here, basically on all sides, and set up the waterworks to get the slimes up to the room that we prepared earlier. So I'm going to start working on that, and that I will show bits and pieces of as I go and how I build it. So basically what I'm going to start doing is digging all the way around the pads. Every single surface or every single edge of the pads is basically going to be dug out. And then I'm going to set up a set of stairs to bring them up a little bit and then drop them into a channel that's on the same level as the pads. The reasoning behind that is I don't want to get them out of range of that sweet spot, because if I were to drop them below this pad level, then there would be a chance or a possibility that they could despawn. So I'm going to do that, make a ring all the way around all the pads, and then come back to you guys. And there's the ring. Well, it's kind of a ring. You'll notice that I've dug 3 back on each side of the pads, and this is true for 3 sides, actually all sides, but there are pillars in 3 of the corners, one there, and the other one's out of frame over there. But the center one is different. This area where I'm standing is going to be treated differently because both corners of the chunks meet at that same spot. But we'll get into that a little later on. What I need to do next is I need to start setting up stairs, or placing steps, that is, all along the edges like so. And then after that's done, we're actually going to start hollowing out this area so that they can go up another step. And once they go up another step, I'll have them high enough to drop into a channel that then is on the same level as the pad I'm standing on. So I'm going to start putting the steps around. After I put the steps around, I have to start placing signs, and I'm going to need a ton of signs in order to hold the water. And once I throw those signs down and put the water in, I'll explain the function behind these walls. As you can see, I completed putting the stairs around. I actually cleaned out both chunks, and on both chunks I set up the stairs all the way around, and these will bring the slimes up one to the next level. Now I believe I'm going to have 2 sets of stairs that bring them up, so that when they drop, maybe 2 or 3, I can't remember, but as I go I'll know. And then they'll drop into a channel that then brings them to one collection point, but that channel will always be at the same level as the pad I'm standing on, so there's no chance of them despawning. Next step is making signs to hold the water in place. I'm going to need a ton of signs, so I'm going to start making the signs. There we go. Okay, so I don't know if you guys know how to make signs, but you need sticks, and then with one single stick at the bottom, you're going to place a bunch of planks at the top. Once I place the planks at the top, as you can see, I've made signs. So I'm going to make a bunch to begin with, but I'm going to need a lot more than what I've just made. Now I'm going to start placing these signs, and when I start placing these signs, I'm going to make them go all the way around to hold water, and then all the way across the stairs to hold more water to keep the slimes from coming back out into the pads. Once I got the water in place, then I'll show you exactly the system and how it works. Okay, I'm going to make myself an infinite spring, so I can start using that as my water source. There we go. And now I'm going to start placing water all the way around. I won't do the two center corners over here. What I'm going to do is just the outer edges for now until I hollow out the rest of the area, because essentially the water is going to be pushing them up some steps. And the center area here where the two corners of the chunks meet have to be treated a little bit different in order for it to work properly. So I'm going to start placing water, and once the water is placed, I'll explain the function of the water and how it works with the slimes themselves. Okay, so you can see I got water along the edges of the pads. They go all the way around except for the two sides that meet at the corner or the center area over here, where the two chunks meet. What I'm going to do on these sides is I'm only going to place 3 buckets. One goes in this corner. The other one goes... Oh, actually that was incorrect. Let's pick that back up again. There we go. One goes in this corner. The other one goes in the corner over here. And you'll notice that the two streams meet in the center, but there is a gap. So on this side, it really doesn't matter which one I use or which side I use, but I'm going to place it on the spot to the right. And with these 3 buckets in place, I've basically caused a stream that will take the spawns up onto those stairs from any direction that they walk in. So since I have this side done, let me do the other side. Over here. And that is done. So if you look over here, let's say a spawn would spawn in a specific spot anywhere on this pad. So let's say one spawns right where I'm standing. That spawn or that slime will automatically start moving in a direction. That's one of the characteristics with slimes. They don't move randomly in multiple directions. They will spawn in one place and then pick a direction and continue to move in that direction, and they won't stop moving in that direction. If they hit an obstruction, they'll continue to jump and try to move in that same direction. So I'm trying to take advantage of that characteristic of a slime, where if they spawn in my spawn pad at any place and they move in any direction, I have water or water channels all the way around the pad that will automatically pick them up, like so. So you'll notice if I go to any of the edges, let's say this one, and I get to the point where I pass the threshold of the signs, the water picks me up automatically and brings me up the stairs. When I did that just now, I wasn't moving forward. I let go of the keyboard, and sure enough, it brought me up. Now, in the corners over here and over here, where the two chunks meet, the waterworks has to be a little bit different because of the corner itself. So placing down the 3 buckets that you saw me place earlier achieves the same result. So once I reach that threshold of the signs, I'll let go of the keyboard, the water just picks me up and brings me up the stairs. And that's what I want. I want to be able to pull the slimes away from the pads, therefore allowing more space for the new slimes to spawn. And as they get pulled away into those areas, I'm going to have basically trenches with water that collect them to one spot, and then we'll design a elaborate water system to bring them all the way up to the surface into the processing room. So I'm going to start adding all the signs that are necessary and all the water channels, and I'll show you bits and pieces as I go. Alright guys, I'm going to try my best to explain what you're looking at here. This is one of the two sides that meet, of the chunks that meet at the corner. And all the waterworks have been put in place. Everything is basically set up via stairs, signs, and waterworks. Essentially what will happen is if a slime spawns on the bottom pads, they'll just get sucked up into it and then eventually directed in that direction over there into the opening on the far corner. And that's where I'm going to have the elaborate water system that brings them up like a set of stairs to the surface. Or, I mean, that's the way it's intended to work. We're going to try it out and see how well it does work. I believe it will. The other thing too is if they spawn on the top pads where I'm standing, again taking advantage of the characteristic that they move in one direction only, eventually they'll fall off and they'll Like, I'm not moving or touching the keyboard right now, so they're going to be driven down to where I'm heading right now. Just like you're looking at it, like just like you're seeing it. And once they get to this area, there will be an elaborate system that'll take them upstairs. So I'm going to continue, finish off doing the rest of it, and then we're going to do some tests and see if some slimes spawn. But in order for that to work, I'll have to go up to the surface, because while I'm down here, none of them will spawn because I'm too close. They're not in that range or distance of spawning away from me, the player. Okay, I'll see you guys in a bit. So we're all done. All the waterworks and signs are in place for both the lower pads as well as the upper pads. Pretty much all the spawns that happen here, every slime that spawns on the pads that like the pad I'm standing on or the pads above me, they'll end up in the water streams, and they're all channeled to bring them to that spot over there. You can see it in the distance, that little jack-o'-lantern with the creeper face. And the last thing we need to do is build from that point there a set of stairs to bring them all up to the surface into the room that we prepared earlier. So I'm going to give you a bit of a demonstration of how going through the waterworks will bring you to the very top. Keep in mind, I'm not going to be touching the keyboard as I go through this whole process. As you can see, the water streams just carry me around. And as the slimes come through here, they're all going to collect in one point. And eventually the waterworks will bring them all the way around to one spot. And that spot is here, right where the creeper face is. So the next thing we're going to do is basically light up the area, make it look a little nicer with some jack-o'-lanterns here and there. And then we're going to work on the elevator system that's going to go from here all the way up to the surface into the room we prepared. I'm going to do that, and I will meet you guys up at the top. And there we have it. The stairs are complete, or the stair water elevator system. As you can see, I've already placed the water on my way up. And any slimes that spawn down in that area should go through the whole contraption that I built and eventually come to this point right over here. So what I'm going to do now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to block this off, just so that if slimes make it up here, they don't start jumping around all over the place. We'll do it like this. So if they come up, we can actually see them sitting inside. There we go. And while we're waiting for the slimes to come up to basically make sure that this thing works, I'm going to go outside and clean that diamond pattern that was there on the previous episode. And I'll probably close up the hole that leads all the way down to the pads, because at this point we don't ever really need to go back down there again. Okay, this is all cleaned up. Let's run back into the slime spawn area, or the slime processing area, and see if we've got any coming up already. Ha! And there we go. As you can see, the slimes are coming up. So we know the slime spawn trap and mechanism is working properly. I think we've done quite a bit this episode, so probably on the next episode what I'll do is I'll concentrate on setting this whole area up right over here in a method to process the slimes that come up, so that I can get either XP or slime, either way, whichever one I want. So guys, glad that you could join me. I hope you guys liked this episode, and I will see you again later on. Have a good day. And the platform I'm standing on right now is exactly... my God.